Okay, I'll be back. As the YouTube boys say, this is the fit, okay? So today is my fit. I'm in my pajamas. But at any rate, my name is James Marion Kemp, okay? And since 2008, I've been producing a website on the internet called Pop Spedster and Company. And the original idea for Pop Spedster and Company was that it was going to be a site where I shared my information about my career as a special education teacher back then. I retired in 2013. I taught special ed for 13 years for South Coast Education Service District in Coos Bay, rather than, I shouldn't say Gooseberry, when my boys were at sit down here for a minute. This is raw footage, and I intend to use it today because I'm starting a new video project, and this new video project, gotta put this right where I'm looking at it. There, this new video project is called Jim Dandy to the Rescue, because let's start at the beginning, which is a long time ago. Yeah, so I've been a teacher, high school teacher, for 8 years back at a high school in Illinois. I taught for Southwestern Oregon Community College, both freshman composition classes, and then I was a full-time at Shutter Creek Correctional Institution in North Bend, Oregon, where I taught inmates in what's called the Oregon's, back then it was called the Oregon Summit Program. It was a brand new behavior modification, cognitive, we want to emphasize, cognitive behavior modification program. One of my students, of course, was Jeff Galooly, Tanya Harding's ex-husband, whoop-de-doo. And you can read that on another one of my blogs on WordPress. So what I'm going to do today is just really read to you something that I wrote early morning today about where I am right now in a relationship. So let me take a look at that little project. There we go. So I'm going to be reading this. Yesterday I declared a break. This is the title of this blog. Oh, this is on the Pop Spedster and Company WordPress blog, whatever. At any rate, this is for March 25th, 2025. And for this episode, this will be like Season 1, Episode 1 of Jim Dandy to the Rescue. The title of this vlog is The Hero Broke. Yesterday, I declared a break in a relationship. My boyfriend and I have been having FaceTime meetings that lasted 1 to 2 hours daily for the past 3 months. I am a rescuer. I allow my own mental health needs to take back seat to the needs of people I love. In any relationship, I feel that those I love will benefit from talking with me about their mental health issues. In this case, I became overwhelmed by my boyfriend's multiple mental health issues. For this blog, I will call him Paul. There you go. Paul has a number of diagnoses. He has been diagnosed anorexic nervosa, bipolar, ADHD, and behaves based on past dysfunctions, including low self-esteem, body dysmorphia, and chronic depression. Paul and I met on a dating app. I am recovering from grief over the death of my partner of 4 years. Paul is attracted to older men. I had just stopped seeing another younger man who was also grieving a loss. Paul is 24 years younger than me. He comes from a dysfunctional family where parents were of ages that also differed, around 20 years, with father being the oldest. Paul informed me of all of his mental health issues over a 3-month period. Paul lives in a remote area where he cares for a senior citizen with many age-related physical issues. Early on, I received a package from Paul containing a costume that I felt resembled Hugh Hefner's robe and pipe. I agreed to model these for Paul. I also posted some sexually explicit photos of myself, as did Paul. Hopefully by this time you will have a clearer picture, no pun intended, of the direction of our relationship, of the direction our relationship was heading. Again, no pun. So, to what extent did I discuss my grief issues? 1% or 2%. To what extent did I become involved in trying to analyze and treat a loved one with comorbidities of mental health issues? 99% to 98%. Stay tuned. You might find this juicy. James Kemp. Okay, so there that is, so we can put her away. And now we just have the camera. Hang on. There we go. Now we just have the camera. So I just gave you a whole bunch of personal information. And I'll expand on it. So yeah, this is all about my recovery. So, everybody else, as a rescuer, part of my problem, any rescuer's problem, is that they just simply never get around to taking care of their own issues. My issue at the moment is grief. I lost my partner of 4 years on May 2nd last year, very suddenly. He died of cancer, and comorbidities with him included a liver transplant and his failing kidneys that resulted after he tested positive for COVID-19. My old partner was a very important man in my life. I identify. Okay, my pronouns are he and him. Let's see. My orientation is LGBTQ plus, and my preferred orientation is queer. That's it. Just simply queer. Okay? I was married to a woman for 43 years. We had a good life together. Maybe the last 10 of those years she knew, or she should have known, that I was coming out of the closet as a queer guy. But then, all of our friends were gay, and many of them were gay, lesbian, bisexuals, and so forth and so on. I was a co-founder, chairperson for a civil rights group in Coos Bay, Oregon, for a number of years. I've attended many human rights conventions and so forth over the years, and I still advocate for people both with disabilities and both of the LGBTQ plus community. So needless to say, at this point in my life, it's time for me to resist what just happened. I want to share some things that are on YouTube that I found particularly interesting. One of which was a video. It was obviously AI, but in dark, the user's name is Dark Tony or something like that. At any rate, he has one out now, which is a cartoon of one of the president's men, Steve Bannon, and in this cartoon, Steve Bannon is telling you, maybe it's AI, maybe it's really some speech that he made or gave somewhere. But at any rate, he is telling you in his own words how it is that Donald Trump again became elected president of the United States. And basically, it goes back to the Nixon era, and where the Republican Party found itself after Nixon resigned, which was in a state of decay, and they were just losers. So someone named Lee Atwater comes along and suggests to some of the Republicans that the only way that you're going to rebuild this party is by regaining the trust of white people who are basically racist, uneducated, with low IQs. And I'm sorry, folks, I'm sorry, but you just named the reason that Donald Trump has been elected twice. In this series, this character for Steve Bannon estimates Donald Trump's IQ at about 73. That's probably a little bit low, I guess. I was licensed to give IQ tests, even though I don't necessarily believe in IQ tests. IQ tests are accurate between 100 on that big old bell-shaped curve between, let's say 110 at the top and 90 at the bottom. That's a pretty good accuracy rate. But then if you consider the number of people who fall into that category on the bell-shaped curve, it's a very substantial number of people. And those are the people who are able and intelligent enough to be involved in politics and probably are voters and so forth. So in this last election, I think we probably had 7 million people stay home who should have voted but didn't vote for whatever reason. Mr. Biden decided that he would back out, and based on what I observed about his health and so forth, that was a good decision on his part. And I'm a little bit prejudiced because my black partner, Daryl Ethley, worked in City Hall in San Francisco for the city and the county for over 40 years, and at one point he was supervisor of this woman named Kamala Harris, and then later on in his career, Kamala Harris became his supervisor. But at any rate, Daryl was very much involved in all of that. Last night I was watching the series Fellow Travelers, which is extremely gay. I'm watching it for the second time because Daryl and I watched it a few months before he passed. And there's a whole series of time sequences that took place in the 70s, and when Harvey Milk and George Moscone were assassinated. And that's all too true for me because Daryl was there. Daryl was inside in his office while they were outside on the porch. And this will tell you something about my partner. My partner, Daryl Ethley, okay? This is the man that I'm grieving over, okay? Dealing with this grief is what I've been avoiding simply by taking care of somebody else. And I have to stop that. Now it's time to take care of me, okay? So I have lots and lots of stories about Daryl Ethley. And all over the damned internet you will find stuff that I've published about him, and you will find stuff about him anyway. Interviews. I've written a play about one incident in his life where when he was like 14 he was playing football with his older brother and O.J. Simpson at the Potrero Hill Recreation Center in San Francisco, and O.J. got mad at Daryl, who was much smaller than O.J., and O.J. picked Daryl up because he let some other team run through or whatever Daryl didn't do. O.J. picked Daryl up and threw him to the ground and broke his arm. So you can read about that on the Lemonade Network, where I have about 15 different plays that I've written. Some have been produced, some haven't been produced. You want to produce them, you just go right ahead. You got my permission, and it won't cost you a cent. Okay, so enough of this shit. I think I need to go on. This is 14 minutes now. Nobody's going to listen to this if it's 15 minutes. So, hey, I'm just getting this started. Season 1, Episode 1, Jim Dandy to the rescue. Jim Dandy to the rescue! There we go, babe. Bye-bye.